everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel where I discuss being autistic from the stance of being autistic. So it's been a while since I've made a longer video. I got sick for a couple of weeks, my voice went in and out, so my voice is finally coming back, so here I am making a video. So thank you for waiting for me to come back, and hopefully my voice just keeps getting better and I don't sound like such a hot mess. So if I kind of go hoarse in and out or all today, I apologize, because it has been a struggle, and apparently my bangs are being a struggle. Okay, so yeah, it wasn't COVID, but it was just some kind of respiratory infection that I've been dealing with, and so I've been like hacking and going really hoarse a lot, so bear with me. So today I figured let's talk about music. So music is a big thing for me, and it's been a big thing for like my entire family as well. So what does music do for you? How does it make you feel? It has a super profound effect on people in the autism community. So some benefits of music at a young age show to help interactions, but also help us to process emotions, but also memory. Music can help us understand and express our emotions a lot better. I know for me personally, so I'm a millennial. Okay, so I was born in 87. And so I grew up in like the big dawn of the internet. Okay, so I'm talking like AOL Messenger, if you all remember those days. There was MSN Messenger, all that, and a big thing was putting lyrics in your status updates and whatnot, and so that was like a thing for everybody, not even just obviously people on the spectrum, but neurotypicals would do that a lot too. But for me, it was always like I always felt like I could describe what I was feeling by finding songs that described it, because I couldn't put it into words. I always struggled with that quite a bit. And so music always helped me to understand what I was going through, but also emotions for us can be very confusing to put to words. And that's the great thing about music, is that even if it's a song without lyrics, there's emotion in the sounds that you're listening to. So it's very universal. It's something that even if you don't know somebody's language, you can kind of connect through music. I personally have always been super connected to lyrics on top of anything else. I've used it to explain things to people. I know when it comes to neurotypicals, if I tell them to sit down and listen to a song or listen to this band, I'm trying to have them understand my emotions, and sometimes they don't understand that. They just think, oh, it's a cool band, cool, I'm gonna listen to it. It's like, no, it goes beyond the music just being cool. It's a whole emotional invested thing. So if I'm like, hey, listen to this band with me, I'm either trying to get you to understand me as a whole, okay? So because my whole life and personality are in the music that I listen to, so you need to listen to the words, you need to listen to how the music makes you feel, if I'm trying to connect with you over music, it's more than me just wanting you to think it's cool. I want to connect with you on a whole emotional level. My bands that are close to me are very personal, and it gets kind of weird, right? Because like like I shouldn't be emotional if somebody does not like my band. Like, everybody's a different person. Everybody connects to music a little differently. I've gotten better at that over the years with that, where it's like I don't take it personally if you do not like my music, but at the same time understand that it means something significant, so like don't make fun of it. You know what I mean? I try to be really mindful about that as well with other people, because like I have a lot of friends that like things that I personally do not like, and I don't attack that music to them, you know? It's a very personal thing. It can also help with speech and language skills, since it uses both brain hemispheres. So speech and language uses both parts of the brain. And music helps us to be able to use those language skills better. I know personally I had a lot of issues with speech. I didn't talk fully until I was about 4. I had to go through lots of speech therapy. I still have issues sometimes with my speech. It comes and it goes. And I definitely do think music has been a big, profound part of that. Because it helps you to enunciate things a lot better. It helps the things kind of flow better out of your mouth. And I've always been more of a singer than I have been anything else, which also in turn kind of helps the language as well. So something else to discuss as well is that I don't think a lot of people think about how the fact that a lot of us stem to music, and that can be more than just a neurodiverse thing. You can stem along with music even if you're neurotypical, but for us sometimes it's a lot more than that. So I never really connected all of that until I started discovering more about autism and myself. But I very much, like, one of the biggest things I have always stemmed to has been music, because who's gonna yell at you for moving along with music, right? It's one of those things where you could stem without people thinking you're weird and that you're stemming, unless like you're not. I'm not a dancer. I don't have the rhythm for dancing, but I do stem dance and do stem moves along with the music. And I always kind of noticed like people didn't really move quite like I did along with music. I'm very much like a hands mover kind of person, and it's really funny because obviously I'm the goth Audie. I'm very into goth culture and whatnot, and it wasn't until like really recently where I've been getting really into watching other, like on TikTok, watching goths dance, doing goth movements and goth dances, and that's always been how I naturally danced. Like, it's using your hand flows along with the movements, and like I've always done that for like dancing, and I didn't know that was like a thing that people actually did. But I guess just because like I do goth dancing to every kind of music, that maybe that's why I never really connected for me. And very much I do like finger tapping along with music. It's very calming to me to tap along with the beat, just like flowing with my hands along with the rhythm and the sound. And it probably looks really weird to some like neurotypicals or people in the goth culture to know like that is a form of dancing. But that's always been a big way that I have moved along to the music naturally. It just like literally letting the music kind of flow with my repetitious stem movements. And of course, like the thing with like harder music, you don't have to like have like good dance skills like to dance, right? Because it's not really like dancey kind of music. It's very you know, I can do the hand movement things along with it, or I can just like headbang. Pretty easy peasy, right? And so along with that, like a way for me to stim, because I'm a vocal stimmer, so I very much like to make sounds with my mouth. So whether it's talking, being hyperverbal, a lot of that helps connect into music for stimming, because like I said, I've always been a singer. I like to sing along with music. It makes me feel good. Even if it's a song that, like, okay, my vocal range is not well with it, I can still sing along with it and stim and get the feeling that I need to get. And I know, like, personally, if I'm at a, like, this is a thing for me. I don't know how anybody else is, but when I go to a concert, if I don't know the lyrics, it makes me really uncomfortable, because that, again, I'm a vocal stimmer. So like if I can't sing along with the music, I get really, really weirded out. Get really uncomfortable. I have to be able to vocally stim along with the music to feel good and to be out in public while listening to bands, which is, you know, it can be really weird. Like, you're not gonna know every band you go out to see, but that's just something for me. And I know now, especially, that it has to do with me vocally stimming. But yeah, there is lots of therapeutic things that have to do with music, not only for autism or neurodivergence, but just mental health altogether. There is such a thing as music therapy. It makes us feel good. It makes us understand ourselves better. It makes us understand other people better. It makes us communicate. And so it's definitely, I know personally, with the whole idea of music education leaving schools, as somebody else, even before I was autistic, finding out that that was happening was very upsetting for me, because it was like, music has been in my life since I was born. I come from a musical family. Like, my dad played in orchestras all his life. He played the violin since he was very young. My aunt played the cello. And then in turn, like, me and my brother learned instruments as well. I have played every sort of instrument. I have played the violin, I played the viola. I tried the guitar when I was in high school. Didn't go very well, because at that point it was like, it was too hard. I was already struggling in school, and then as much as I would have loved to have been able to play guitar, I was just mentally wasn't there for me. I played the French horn in band. I have played piano, which was like my main instrument that I stuck to, that I loved, and I wish I could get back to. My brother just played violin and gave it up for sports, so, because that wasn't quite his thing, although he does love music. We still kind of connect over bands, but it's a very helpful thing. It's very helpful for mental health. It's very helpful for neurodivergence. So again, on the topic of music being a good stim, it can help us pay attention a lot. I know it would go back and forth. Sometimes I wanted to stim so much to music that it distracted me from studying, but I also was going through a lot of undiagnosed learning disabilities that weren't being helped. So the idea of, I was getting so upset, like trying to study, and then having music in the background would sometimes make me like deter, because the music was making me feel better, but I needed to focus. But I still needed some kind of noise in the background, because I don't do good in silent conditions. I do not, like, I'm way more uncomfortable if I have nothing going on in the background. It can also help raise or lower sensory. So depending on what kind of sensory input you need, it can help either way. And like I said, some of us like to stem dance. Some of us like to vocally stem. So it really helps in multiple types of stemming. So if you need to do something with your hands, playing instruments can help with that as well because of the movements of doing that. Singing can help for vocal stems. Stem dancing can also help with movements if you feel like, you know, playing an instrument or singing is not your thing. But here's the thing that I stress most of all. It doesn't matter if you're tone deaf or not. It doesn't matter if you're good at an instrument. It doesn't matter if you're good at dancing. If it makes you happy and it makes you feel good, you do it, okay? Who cares what anybody else will think? We need to stop thinking about what others are going to think with how we stem, because their input does not matter. And we need to really remember that. And I know, like, easier said than done, right? But I will forever stem to music. And I've always said, like, you know, if you've ever been asked the question, if you had to have something taken away, and would you rather be blind, deaf, mute, you know, any of those? I don't know if you've ever had that question asked of you, but like, I know I have. And I know the one thing I could never be is deaf, because I need music in my life. I could do without anything else. You know, as much as I like to vocally stem, if I would lose my voice, it'd be fine because I could still hear everything. But music is so beneficial for everybody. And it's something to remember. So can an autistic person interpret music differently? Yes and no. Okay, so the experience can be the same as a neurotypical. However, the understanding and the imagination and the description is quite different. So, because like a lot of us, we can kind of like, more than a neurotypical, we can really feel it in our body. More than a neurotypical, we can really feel it in our emotions a little differently. As something I have seen, if music gives you goosebumps, that's not a normal neurotypical kind of thing. I know I get goosebumps to music all the time. I will go to shows and I'll sometimes start crying because it, you know, it just takes over the emotion, what it has done to help me and what it does to be able to see the person in front of me sing the songs that help me so much, so many mental things. So I will get over emotional at concerts sometimes. And I know it has alarmed people sometimes when I go with them. Especially like there was, so I went to see Ringo Starr, like not too long. It was probably just a couple months after I had left my abusive ex-husband. And I went with my parents. It was a gift for me because I have always been a huge Beatle nut. And Ringo's one of my favorites. My dad tried his, like, so hard, tried his best to get me Paul McCartney tickets once, and he couldn't get seats together, and he knew I would not want to sit by myself with a bunch of strangers, because I wouldn't do well. I had to have a person I know with me. You know, here for all the people that can go to shows and stuff by themselves. I am not one of those people. Anyways, I went to see Ringo Starr and with my parents, and we're watching him, and I can't even remember exactly which song came on that he started singing. I started crying, and like my mom got so worried and was so concerned, and because I think she thought it was more so having to do with like my ex, but it had nothing to do with him. It was because I was so happy in that moment being able to be in the same space as Ringo Starr that I started to cry. And luckily my dad kind of understood that. He was like, yeah, I didn't think it was anything to do with him. And I felt like it was in the moment. I was like, yeah. I have gone to concerts since I was I'm trying to think. I was pretty young. My first concert it was in the 90s. My first concert was Aerosmith, and I wore a Spice Girls shirt there. So, you know, I was pretty young. And then I constantly went to concerts ever since that. And it was something my parents were very avid about, like making sure that me and my brother were able to see concerts and music in person. And I'm so grateful for that, because I know a lot of people I'm from a really small town, so like a lot of people didn't experience that, and it's super weird to me when people are like full-grown adults and they still haven't gone to a concert. Like, it happens, like everybody's raised differently, but I am so glad that I got to go to the shows, and concerts have been my life consistently ever since, and it makes me happy. It's helped me make friends. Like, so one of my favorite bands, Circus Survived, and unfortunately, it's been a really weird, bittersweet kind of thing, because every time I went to see them, my ex was there, because it was a big thing for my ex as well, and I had to pretty much rewire my brain to like try to remember all these moments without him included, like because they're still a very important band for me. And even though he was involved in a lot of it, I honestly consider Circus Survived to be one of the reasons why I'm still here. Because if it wasn't for their music and those moments, I don't think I would have made it through that relationship. Especially because we were both on this message board for Circus Survive on their website. I don't know if young kiddos know what message boards were, if I have any young viewers, but it was kind of like Tumblr, but with like chats and different discussions, but only related to like the band, and you only were on there if you were a fan of the band. And because of that, that was the first time I ever really started making friends. I have friends from all over the country due to this band, who I'm still friends with. I met all these people online in like 2006, and I'm still very close to all these people. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little emotional. I didn't realize this video was going to get so emotional, but if it wasn't for these people that I met through this band, and how much they helped me after I left my abusive ex, I don't know if I would have made it. You know, they're very important people to me. This band's very important to me. I really hope I get to meet a lot of them at some point. I talked to them, a lot of them, still to this day. They were the only ones that came. Well, they're not the only ones. Like, I had my family. I had some close friends that helped me, like, in the town, that I'm very grateful for as well. But as for somebody that like knew the whole situation, that had been there for a long time, who knew both me and my ex, they helped me to understand that I shouldn't blame myself, because I was, and I still do a lot. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's a good block here. I've talked to I used to know a lot of the band members as well. Unfortunately, I didn't talk to them a lot because I didn't feel like I could due to my ex. So I still kind of worry that maybe that they have this preconceived notion of me based on my ex. I kind of talked to one member. He told me he didn't really talk much about the situation at hand, which is probably good, but that's only one member. I don't know if he talked to the other members more so, because my ex was very very known to go to people that knew me and tried to misconstrue who I was as a person. He tried to tell people I was bipolar, and that, the whole ex-girlfriend, the crazy ex-girlfriend trope. So I always kind of still worry to this day if they know. And it's not that they care. It's still like, even though I talk to this band a lot, it still revolves around a lot about like the parasocial ideal. Like, they do not think of me on every given day, or any given day probably, but because they mean a lot to me, I kind of feel like maybe that, there could be some kind of preconceived notion of me, which I kind of think about. I might do like a video about parasocial, because it's very interesting. I think it kind of affects us a lot as neurodivergents. But so Circa Survive means a lot to me, and so do all their fans that I connected with over the years. I have so many friends from around the States, which, as somebody who is autistic, who never had groups of friends, who would maybe have one or two good friends at a time, which were constantly, like, we grew apart, and I would never understand why. Music's important. Connecting with people is important for us, especially if it's something that means so much to us. And for me, it was this band. And I met a lot of people through them, and I'm forever grateful for that. And they're very important people to me, and they will always be very important people to me. So music, as you can tell, I'm very emotional. Music is just very important. We feel in our bodies, we feel in our minds. Even though I'm crying, like, it's not like sad tears, it's happy tears, it's grateful tears. Music has a big effect on our community, and it's a wonderful thing, and it should be thought of more. It's very therapeutic. Like, so even if you don't have a therapist, which you should, because I think everybody should have a therapist, music helps a lot with that. And having people that connect with it as well is very important as well. So, as much as anybody says, internet friends are just as important as in real life friends. I don't care. Like, people can, I know, like, the whole boomer generation, like, has always made fun of that. Like, this nerd at the computer, he only has friends on the internet. Like, it's, for some of us, where it was hard to connect with people face to face, which I know for me personally, I'm from a small town. People didn't like my music. People didn't like my clothing. People just didn't like me, Having online relationships count, and it helped me, and it still helps me to this day. I have more in-person friends than I ever have, but it's wonderful. It's great. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, now that I've been a blubbering mess, I hope that this video found you well. I hope you can connect to it, and I would love to hear some of your favorite bands in the comments. and then I will see you next time. If anybody has any like specific topics they would love for me to discuss, I will absolutely love that, because I could use some more ideas. I need to get some more topics put in my books so I can talk about them. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe.